Morning.
Good morning, Warren. How are you?
I'm very fine on this early Sunday morning. I don't think we've ever done a show at this time before. It's 8 o'clock for me. What time is it over there?
It's 10 o'clock here in
10 a.m. Eastern. Yeah.
10 a.m. Eastern. And for our folks that are joining us in Europe, it is about 3 o'clock, I would say, in the afternoon, give or take. And then for the folks that are joining us in Australia, it's going to be 16 hours ahead, 14 hours ahead. So it's going to be probably about midnight.
It's too early for me to do math of that sort. I do have, so everybody knows, 2 cups of coffee going this morning. So hopefully that'll kick in and my math brain will activate.
Yeah, I actually didn't even hit the coffee yet. I'll be hitting that after we get done. So I'm actually having good old fashioned lemonade.
Wow. Nothing wrong with a good old fashioned lemonade, Roy.
Yep, there you go.
Huh. Well, we're not running the scroll along the bottom, keep the mystery surrounding what episode we're doing today. But then I just suddenly realized that my name might give it away. The gig is up.
I guess those 2 cup of coffees didn't kick in yet.
I know. I don't know what I was thinking, but thanks for joining. And maybe we can start off with the wonderful ITC synopsis that you're always famous for.
Yeah, we can give that a shot. And it goes something like this. While exploring an apparently lifeless planet, a member of Alpha's crew comes under the influence of an antimatter being, and suddenly all Alphans are in danger of having their futures swapped for the past. And we, of course, are talking about the year 2 episode, A Matter of Balance.
A Matter of Balance. Wow. Okay. Do you know, Roy, I was thinking as you were reading through that, you know how a lot of TV episodes were sort of structured with an A story and a B story?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Sure.
I was wondering how much fun it would be to come up with synopses based on the B stories for some of these episodes. And in which case, for A Matter of Balance, it would probably go something like this. Tony's beer is so bad that the crew fall ill and yeah, I don't know.
No, when you said Tony's beer is so bad, that's followed by the prompt, how bad
is it?
And if you ever watched the game shows, and we did it at the Bethlehem convention, it was Match Game.
It was Match Game, yeah.
Gene Rayburns, and he would even say that. He'd say, what was the one that they use? So-and-so was so out there, and then the audience would go, how out there was so-and-so? And then he would say, so-and-so was so out there that they blanked.
yeah.
Anyway, we digress. It's 10 a.m. in the morning on the East Coast and at 8 a.m. on the West Coast.
Good fun. Yeah. Well, listen, we're joined by a very special guest again this morning, Roy.
Yes, we are.
So let's go ahead and bring her on.
Hi, Missy.
Hi, Missy. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi. Thanks for joining us again. You took part in our previous segment for the Metamorph, right?
Yes.
And you're just so excited to jump back in, dive back in, and talk about A Matter of Balance, aren't you?
She's fighting to get the words out. The word of yes.
Sort of.
We're having a lot of fun here, folks.
I'm so sorry.
It's all good. No, this is actually episode number. Well, it depends on who you speak to, where you read, what source you're looking at. But this is either can be considered episode 15, which I always thought it was, or you could consider it episode 16 because this is one of the 2 Double Up episodes that was being filmed at the time. This along with Space Warp, which was taking place exactly at the same time. And what is so cool Warren and Missy. We are in such sync with everything because this episode was filmed between August 6th and August 24th of 1976.
50 years ago.
So we are in line with that 50 years ago. Isn't that crazy?
That's amazing. That's amazing. And it just, I have to circle that back into several comments out there online that you always have to take them sort of with a grain of salt. But how can we still be in the 50th anniversary 3 years later, Roy?
Oh, I know. It's for all the folks that always mention that, Space 1999, as many of us know, was filmed between 1973 and 1976. And we have done our best to celebrate all those years of 50-year fandom as far as anniversaries are concerned.
Well, and the funny graphic I came up with that is right here, actually. So where it says we're not getting any younger, but who's really counting? 50-ish.
Yeah.
And proud.
Yeah. Ish. No. Hey, I want to welcome some of the folks that are out there. I see Chris is joining us from Kentucky. Welcome, Chris. And also Dennis Chevalier is joining us from Canada. And also May is out there joining us from Canada as well, too. And Nancy, we are well represented from Canada today. So thank you, everyone, for being out there.
Wow. Good morning, everyone. And Nancy's tuning in. Nancy must be on the road. She's tuning in from Lloydminster. I figured I'd help you with that one, Roy. It's a local city town. Interesting fun fact, though, on Lloydminster. It's actually right on the border between Saskatchewan and Alberta. So half the town is in Saskatchewan and half the town's in Alberta.
Interesting. Okay.
So sometimes they, depending on how the seasons land, the same city can be in two different time zones.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I need more coffee for that.
Really strange. Yeah. No, but good morning and thanks to everybody for tuning in. So, matter of balance. Well, where would you guys like to start? Something to do with Tony's beer?
Well, one thing I could say, and actually, Missy, did you want to lead off or did you?
I come up with this one the other night. This is the episode where hydroponics becomes a botanical, chemical warfare type of thing with them stupid flowers.
It is. You know what? That was an interesting aspect. I mean, had we actually seen hydroponics before?
We did. We saw not in this second year, but we did see it in the first season, the Troubled Spirit.
Troubled Spirit, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually the hydroponic set that is used in this episode is a redress of the life support center that we've seen. We've seen actually this area. We saw it with the Mark of Arcanon, where they were in the Tech Lab 3. That was that same set. We've seen it used in Seed of Destruction when Koenig confronts Cranston. It's used there. Of course, the Beta Cloud, we've seen it. We've also seen it in other episodes as well, too. But what they did was they pretty much scoured it with a lot of vegetation and everything. And to make it, and they actually had some, I think there was an item or two that was actually used in war games. Those clear containers, they had that was in the set. So there was a lot of redressing going on, and a lot of props from different episodes that was used in this specific episode too. But we can talk about that a little later.
Yeah, sure. And those clear containers they actually used in Troubled Spirit as well, did they not?
Yes, I think you're right. They did.
Those glass cubicles. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Huh. Awesome. I didn't realize this. Chris is chiming in right away here. But speaking of Canada, actor Nicholas Campbell, who played Eddie Collins, is also from Canada.
Oh, great tidbit. Thanks for sharing, Chris.
Wow. Yeah. And of course, the episode's other, there's a couple of guest stars, but, just strictly speaking that opening, of course, actress Lynn Frederick.
Oh, you froze, Warren. I'm sorry.
I froze? Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, it was...
I just mentioned Lynn Frederick.
Yeah.
Very famous for being married to Peter Sellers, I believe, right?
Yeah, they were married between 1977 and 1980. And sadly, she has passed away. I remember when she did pass. I think she was only like 39 years old.
Yeah, very, very young, very, very tragic.
Yeah, car accident.
I am picking up a little feedback now, Roy. It just started out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm hearing it now too. That's weird. All right, hold on one second. Is it gone?
No. Test. Missy, just say a couple words.
Okay, what do you want me to say?
Okay, no, that's perfect. Technical difficulties, everyone. Thanks for bearing with us. Try that, Roy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gone.
Okay, that's better.
Wow, it was the mysterious unknown force.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, as Chris is saying, she passed away from alcoholism. Yeah, she, if I remember correctly, that was the reason for the car accident that she was in.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, very sad.
Huh.
Yeah, she's been gone for, I think she passed away about, 40 some years ago. 1984, I think it was.
Crazy.
Yeah.
We were all so much younger.
Yeah, she was only 21 when she did this episode. So, anyway, and then also we have Stuart Wilson. Stuart Wilson, the first time I actually saw him and read about was he actually was uncredited in an episode of UFO, and he was in one of the episodes for that. And I know Missy was talking. We were talking before the show. You said The Protectors that he was in.
And he did have hair, just to clarify.
Yeah. He wasn't wearing the cap that he was wearing in this episode.
We're talking about that as well. For the longest time, I thought, but then just, more recently with the advent of high definition, I did, it is noticeable. It is a bald cap, in fact, but it's a very good one. Yet because when you see him from the front, it's.
Yeah, and the first time I came across where you can actually tell, it's in one of the novelizations. There's a close up of him, and the photo it's literally right on top of him, and you can see where the makeup starts and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did a lot of work in for ITV, I Claudius, Return of the Saint, which a lot of the Space 1999 actors did right after this. The Professionals was another show, Tales of the Unexpected. And then he went on to Hollywood, and where I remember seeing him also probably in the 90s was in Lethal Weapon 3. That was the big movie that he was in. Also No Escape, and he did also Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Going back a little bit further, 1979, The Prisoner of Zenda. And interesting enough, Lynn Fredericks had starred in that, was one of the stars, and also Catherine Schell was in that movie as well, too. And that was shortly after 1999.
Wow. Varied career. I had no idea about Lethal Weapon 3.
Yeah.
Huh.
He was not a nice guy in that movie. And then Lynn Fredericks, we really didn't talk about too. She had an interesting career too, because she did a lot of things. Nicholas and Alexandra, 1971. She was in Henry VIII and His Six Wives in 1972. Again, The Prisoner of Zenda. Her career kind of went up and down. I guess she was offered a lot of roles, but was not doing a lot of stuff after. She had married Peter Sellers, and that was shortly after Space 1999, because she was caring for him and on set with him because he was in declining health. And but
wow. Folks, we are joined by a very special guest today. I just want to bring this up. This is the other Stuart Wilson that I was just your ears must have been burning, Stuart. That's funny.
Hey, Stu.
Thanks for joining in today. Yes, and not long till Manchester. We'll talk about that towards the end of the show here. Oh, and I do have a new Manchester 1999 t-shirt. And there's a brand new Shopify store that's scrolling along the bottom, just to point that out to everybody, with some cool merchandise, including, I'll bring it up a little later on again, but we have a new some new merchandise to also help not only the Manchester event, but Return to Moonbase Alpha, as well as our podcast, Roy. So Space 1999, this episode, and I'm going to call it a sister show, Roy's Tie-Dye Sci-Fi Corner. So be watching for some more details on that. But yeah, Missy, you know what, with A Matter of Balance, one of the things I always liked about it, I'm just curious your take on it, is it was nice to actually get outside for once in year 2 and see everyone on location, and get out of that claustrophobic base. What do you think?
Now that part, yeah, I like that. It was very interesting to go somewhere, although it obviously was not a habitable planet that they were looking for.
Yeah, and I agree with that too, because one of the, I don't want to say a pet peeve, but this episode was written by their names are escaping me, Pip and Jane Baker, and they were husband and wife writing team, and they wrote for movies. They actually had done Doctor Who episodes. And unfortunately, a good portion of the script had been rewritten by Fred Freiberger. It went through many revisions. And ironically enough, one of the first revisions that took place was on July 20th of 1976, which when I saw that date, I was like, oh, wow, my 10th birthday.
It's your birthday.
And that was one of the revisions. And then there was revisions that took place on the 30th of July. Then there was August 5th and then August 9th. And evidently he did a lot of, I guess it was like 20 pages of change. The character of Vrindris was changed a bit as well. Originally, he wasn't wearing the garb that he was wearing. It was a little bit more conservative, not as, I guess, flary. And although he did get to keep the medallion, the medallion that he had evidently had the power that the flowers did in the hydroponic section, which he had Shermeen kind of create with the use of the I'm not even going to attempt to say what that was, that device that he bombarded with, she bombarded it with protons and everything. And I'm not even going to get into the science of all this either. But so there was a lot of changes. It was great to see the Alphans out on a planet. One of my pet peeves, and again, I'm going to do this 30-second disclaimer that I do on all these episodes that we do, Warren and I do, is that I'm not bashing it by any means year 2. So just for anybody out there that thinks that, I very much enjoy there's year 2 episodes that are some of my favorite. But with that said, nitpicking I will do with this episode, because unfortunately, and Missy, I know you definitely are a year 2 fan, and I say so more so in the sense that you're a fan of Space 1999, but I know that year 2 is more your preference than year 1. Just just a little.
It's a wee bit more of my preference than year 1. Yes.
So with that said, it's just there were some inconsistencies that I just think really got through the cracks on this episode, and it's unfortunate because, and I'm going to blame the writing for that. I like the premise that they came across the planet, which is great, but it's just that the idea of them coming across a planet is not really it's not a big deal. It's like, when Koenig asks Helena to join, to be a part, and they use the term landing party. I hear the landing party term used about 6 times over in this episode, which kind of like, it's like, again, with the writing and saying about joining landing party. And she says she has some sequential lab test that she's got to run through, and she's going to have to pass. It's like, they're on Moonbase Alpha looking for a new world. I mean, and to me, that was just like a missed opportunity. And again, I blame it on the writing for this. And I'm not going to bash Fred Freiberger, but I am going to bash him here because I know that he did a lot of the rewrites for the script. So to me, that was just a missed opportunity. The other thing is with Shermeen. Shermeen's been on the first team for a long time. And then she also says that she's been collecting samples from every place they've been to.
Yeah, there's no continuity there whatsoever. It's just out the
none.
window.
And even watching this episode back in like 1976, 77, it didn't ring well for me as a 10, 11-year-old. So, I mean, I'm sorry. That's just something that just it doesn't work. It's just, I mean, any thoughts on that, Missy Warren?
Well, not in particular, but actually, May just chimed in with an interesting comment in relation to all that. So she says, watching Shermeen collecting samples made me think they didn't learn much from their previous visit to Luton.
Yeah, right. I know. I thought that. Yeah, exactly. It's worth it.
Yeah, but no, you know, I think overall, for me anyway, and you guys can follow up on this if you like, but year two for me, I basically separate into thirds, right? And there's, out of the 24 episodes, there's 8 I really like, there's 8 I really don't like, and then there's sort of 8 right in the middle, right? So for me, A Matter of Balance is in that sort of middle category. You know, don't love it, don't hate it. You know, could go either way. I've always found it enjoyable to watch, and there's a couple things in there that struck me when I was younger watching it, and one of them is it's you know, in the temple. I think everything in the temple is kind of eerie and creepy, so I like that right off the bat. But you know, they rely on, I'm going to call it sort of a sci-fi trope, but it's not a trope, but it's just something that's I've always found unsettling when somebody's in a chamber and you suddenly see them disappearing and they're screaming or writhing in agony, or so when Shermeen disappears into the antimatter universe, and the music coupled with sort of the sound effect, I always found a little unsettling, almost like the disintegration booth in Mission of the Darians, Roy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
sure.
or Star Trek: The Motion Picture, when Sonak is beaming in, and
yep.
You know, things like that. Just an observation that I found, you know, unsettling as a child, and I still do to this day.
No, and that, yeah. What did you think about Dragon's Domain, Warren?
That should be no surprise. Traumatized.
Since you're talking about being unsettling as a child.
Right?
And
not that we haven't talked about this.
As adults who grew up watching this show, is it any wonder that we might have issues?
Oh, I know. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, right. I agree about the temple. I mean, the temple was very eerie. It was kind of Dr. Because it seemed like, with as far as the tarsing up. Am I freezing?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I think so.
Did I freeze?
I think so. Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah,
You're back.
sorry about that. I'm having internet connection. Sorry about
That's
that.
okay.
But anyway,
you said something about Doctor Who?
Yeah, I was just saying the temple seemed a lot larger inside than it was on the outside, but that's okay. I mean,
yeah.
that it was kind of like the TARDIS, but there's no worries with that. I mean, that just goes with anything, you know, for any type of show or movie. One of my, again, I'm being nitpicky, but the fact that there were numbers on the dials that Maya was turning for the device, that was a nitpick for me, because it's like, why would there be, you know, 0 through 9 on those dials? It should not have been on there like that. Did you catch that by any chance?
I don't think so. I don't think I ever noticed or it bothered me, but you're right. And that's, I mean, that you can chalk that up to the fact that was a reused prop, right? That whatever they call it in this episode was used in a couple other episodes, wasn't it? In Dorcons later on.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't come until later. So
No, I know. But they used it previously. I think they used it in Metamorph.
Really?
I
Okay.
think.
You're talking about the antimatter converter?
The antimatter converter, the big square thing that's...
Yeah. I didn't... Okay. I'd have to go... I'm not recalling it, but that doesn't... Yeah. But that's just...
I don't know. Maybe I just haven't had enough coffee this morning and
Yeah, blame it
brain
on
isn't firing on all cylinders.
not to diss you, but I don't think it was used in the Metamorph. Sorry.
Okay, it's something else I'm thinking of then.
That's okay. No worries.
Yeah.
Chris is commenting saying, yes, the Paradise Syndrome from Star Trek The Preservers. Yeah, absolutely. Interesting enough, third season of Star Trek was produced by Fred Freiberger, if I haven't ever brought that up. So,
Was it?
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Warren's being a
Yep.
smartass.
And of course, Michael's also saying, and yeah, the episode we talked about, the on location shoot, would have been in Black Park, behind Pinewood Studios somewhere, I believe.
Yeah, and it was fun walking through there looking for that location. Interesting enough, too, we have been having a severe heat wave, and I know the UK has been experiencing a lot of hot weather. The summer of 1976 was horrendous with heat and a lot of sweating going on. And in fact, if you look at the vegetation around the area where they filmed too, it's brown in a lot of areas. But the summer of 76 was very difficult as far as filming, especially under the sets of Pinewood Studios. And 50 years later, we're going through kind of like the same thing right now with a lot of the heat wave. And New Jersey doesn't compare to Texas, so but it gets hot here too. The humidity's been very hot, and they have no air conditioning in the UK. So to our friends over there, I hope it cools off a little bit. May said there was a similar type of booth in Mission of the Darians and in Death's Other Dominion. Maybe you're saying Death's Other Dominion, Warren.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, it could be. So, Missy, you also said you made some notes on the episode. Anything there you want to cover?
I did, and you know what? When I brought my papers out, all I brought was the transcript. I didn't bring the notes that I made. They're back in the bedroom somewhere. So
It's okay. It's okay.
I'm just gonna have to wing it.
It's okay. We do it all the time.
Yeah, we do. And we do it well. Hey, James is out there from Australia joining.
Hey,
me.
James. Good to
buddy.
see you out there.
Awesome. Yeah. Well,
I mean,
29
other thoughts too was just the whole concept of antimatter. Antimatter is always very interesting. We, of course, the last time we really were dealing with antimatter in Space 1999, where it was, significant story plot was
Matter
a
of
matter
Life
of life and death.
Yeah.
The second episode of the
Oh.
series.
Even a similar title.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I almost forgot about that element here. It was an interesting take on it about evolution versus de-evolution, if you will.
Mhm.
And it sort of made sense. I think it maybe made a little more sense on paper than what was actually translated on screen. You talked about Pip and Jane Baker and what they were trying to achieve here, but yeah, and the science overall is can rightfully be said it's questionable in certain episodes. In this case, I think it was just more about creating that sense of impending doom and things like that with Vindris and his goals and his aspirations.
I would be very interested to know if anyone out there has the original shooting script.
It would have been interesting to compare. I guess that's where I was going. Is that I think it was a maybe a better idea on paper and read a particular way, but just. And then there was, for the viewer, there's that whole exposition scene in Command Center, halfway through where Maya has to explain antimatter not only to Tony but the viewer as well, right? I think because it was maybe a little too far out there for a lot of people.
Yeah. Some of the science was a little bit, shaky, but again, we don't know what was original as far as the original concept of the story, and then of course, then there was the revisions with any script. But it's just that this episode went in such a direction with being, I don't know, it just wasn't very stable in my the whole idea of them trying to find a planet was not the focus. It was just like, let's just go down there, we're passing this world, and let's go check it out. It was kind of like that was the inspiration. And also the fact that Shermeen, this is kind of scary, and this wasn't, how many botanists or how many experts in regards to geology and then hydroponics are there on Alpha? You can't just tell me it's just Eddie Collins and Shermeen, right? And they would probably be two of the youngest, two of the younger, and I'm not being critical as far as that they couldn't be child prodigies, but we don't know what Shermeen's age is. I mean, we know what it is, based on how old Lynn Fredericks was, but Helena does make the comment about, in her log at the very beginning about teenage
infatuation
has, erupted on Alpha. So with that, that's to say that the youngest, potentially, she could be.
Oh, give it a second, Roy. You're breaking up again. You're breaking
or
up.
she was just early. Dun 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 dun. Sorry. How's that? Am I better?
Yeah, you're back.
Sorry. I apologize, folks, with the internet connections today. Yeah, I mean, it could just be a condition, teenage infatuation doesn't necessarily mean she's a teenager, but it's just, what she's kind of going through. So maybe Helena was referencing it in that capacity, not to say that, the character of Shermeen's a teenager.
No, but you know what? Maya uses the term as well, and
Right.
says Shermeen has a teenage crush
Right.
on me.
Yeah.
So you know what? And say what you will about fan service and fan fiction, but I know that back about 15, 20 years ago, Drew Gaska in the comic book adaptations put an interesting spin on the character, saying that she was actually assigned as sort of like a school work student.
Mhm.
And that's why she ended up on Alpha when it blew out, right? Because she was only sort of there on a school work program, and it explains why she was so young relative to the others.
Which is, and I remember that, and actually, I think I actually have a copy of the first comic of that, the release, which was perfect. However, what it doesn't explain, though, is the fact that she supposedly has been on all the missions and collecting, samples from every planet they've been to. The other thing, I mean, she could be collecting samples from other folks, but then she wouldn't be necessarily upset that she's not going to the planet, because what they're inferring is she's been to every planet, which, again, there's no continuity, which we've already established.
Right.
The other piece of it is that the way she acts with Koenig, I mean, he's like, he asks her, he says, you will give me a report. What? I mean, he's commander of Moonbase Alpha, and he's asked, and granted, he's kind of treading lightly because he knows that she's very sensitive, but this is not somebody you would be having going on this type of mission where it's critical that they're trying to find a new world. It just doesn't add up. So I generally am not that hard when it comes to plot points, but for this episode, I have major problems with it. Just saying. I'll be the bad guy for this episode. Warren isn't saying a word because he knows I'm right, but he doesn't want to say anything negative.
No, I'm just taking it all in, and this
the irony is I'm usually the eternal diplomat, as Ross always says. But you know what? I'm not. It can't. I'm sorry. With this episode, I'm not going to let it sleep. I'm not going to let it slip through the cracks. And honestly, we could continue this conversation on Roy's Tie-Dye Sci-Fi Corner, and we will have the big debate. Something we were going to do in Burbank last year, which we never got to do.
Well, you know what I kind of felt like from this episode after I finally watched it again on Friday night.
Boy, there goes the nuclear waste dumps. Break up again. I just went up.
I kind of thought that it was like a generic script that could have been for like any sci-fi show at that particular time, and they just reverse engineered it enough to call it a Space 1999 script by copy pasting the names and stuff like that. It just didn't feel to me like sorry. It just didn't feel to me like it truly was written for Moonbase Alpha. It just didn't.
That's interesting because I'd have to pull up Mr. Google to find out, Missy, but something jogged in my memory about Pip and Jane Baker actually writing for Doctor Who.
Yeah, they did.
They did.
So
that's a very interesting point that this script to you seemed a little recycled.
It just didn't. Okay, I'm hoping I do not lose my voice here. It just did not seem like it jived, because you have too many things going on between these characters that just don't seem to quite fit any of them. I think perhaps Koenig seems the most Koenig. But as for the rest, they've got some weird stuff. It just, sorry, it just doesn't jive that it was written for these characters.
No, and that's a very interesting point, because here's the thing. As far as watching this episode is just a person watching, let's say watching Space 1999 and let's just watching TV. I find the episode entertaining. I mean, but if you're going to take it to the next level in regards to the characters, the backstory of the show, it doesn't fit. So I totally agree with you on that. This is an episode that potentially a plot device, or that could have been used in another sci-fi show with different characters, and maybe it would have been more. It would have worked better. But it's just that it was sloppy. And again, I blame it on the fact that there was a story that was conceived, and then there was an intervention by, the producer, who wanted to make changes and insert changes to it to make it more adaptable to what he felt was necessary at the time. They were going for the monsters. So you got the Thad, right? You got that creature that was being used in space, something similar in Space Warp, which is the episode that was the double up. And in fact, the next episodes to be done were the Bringers of Wonder Part 1 and Part 2, which we'll be covering in the next week or so. Part 2 showcased that creature being, or something similar to it, being utilized again. So there's that. There's the whole thing with the beer, which is fine. I think I like the whole idea of Tony with the beer and everything. And this was a way, to introduce, to incorporate hydroponics with Shermeen and everything. We got to see a little bit more of that. But I just think that a lot of the necessary writing, which would have made this more believable, especially around the characters that we really respect and love, it just kind of fell short. And there's also comments that have been made too that, Martin Landau, I mean, he wasn't so happy with this. There was writings on his script that were found that he commented about this. And then the irony too is publicity promos were being done during the filming of this episode. It's actually, it's out there. It's on. You can find it on YouTube. Martin Landau was interviewed.
Oh yeah, they're in Black Park doing.
Yeah, they're in Black Park by the temple, and also Catherine Schell is talking about the different characters that she transforms into. But it has to be frustrating from an actor standpoint. I mean, we know that Martin Landau was not happy with all that glisters. He was very upset about that episode, and that was what, episode 4, episode 5 of the season. Now we're jumping ahead 10 more episodes, and again he's talking about being frustrated, and it's just kind of a shame that all this was kind of going on. But again, hey, you know what? 50 years later, we're still here talking about it. So that says a lot in itself. You know what I mean? But since we're taking it to the level of detail that we do when we critique these, we just have to bring up these points. And again, another thing that was sloppy to me was I understood that Koenig was saying about feeling like he was ghosted. In fact, Bill Fraser says that he's having disembarkation readjustment.
Disembarkment.
Yeah.
Disembark. Yeah. Say that 5 times fast. Oh, and Roy just froze as he was trying to pronounce it.
Disembarkation readjustment.
Hold on. That's it. Disembarkation readjustment. Yeah. You have that. You have Koenig who's shuddering, and then Maya says you're shuddering, but not from the cold. And then he says he feels like I feel like I've been ghosted. And she says, well, mate, there's a lot of wood around here to knock on. How would she know about knocking on wood?
That was my thing. That was my thing when I watched it. I was like, okay, so first of all, you have Bill who basically has the heebie-jeebies.
Yep.
Okay, which he gives a fancy name, but it's basically the heebie-jeebies. And then Koenig shudders in 78 degrees. And then what did he say? He had a superstitious grandmother. Okay. Right. And then Maya says about, well, there's plenty of wood about, so, you know, you can knock on that. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. You take this girl from Psychon, which, okay, I don't know if they had trees when she was a kid. I don't know because they never really tell us that. But they had this same type of superstition things, or has she spent just so much time absorbing herself into earth culture that she now knows about knocking on wood? So that was one thing that I was like, when I watched it Friday night, I was like, whoa, okay. So there again, that was a thing that made me think this script wasn't written for the Alphans. Okay. Not the Alphans as we had come to know them up to that episode, or that we know after that. It's like, who was the script written for? Because I'm not buying it.
Well, you know what? And there's something else that just occurred to me. I'm just sort of wondering, we're talking about early versions, and when you read this, Teenage Elfin is tricked by an antimatter specter. Were they maybe trying to go for like a ghost story type of feel, and that's why they're suddenly saying, "Hey, you know, I got the chills," and you know, all those comments. I mean, I don't know, but
well, what I took for about the as far as feeling that they were quote unquote ghosted, what it is that the antimatter beings, you know. And this is the other inconsistency, but I'll one thing at a time. What they were, my feeling was they were going for that the antimatter beings were going through them because it's matter and antimatter. So theoretically, you know, if an antimatter being tries to pick something up, they can't do it because there's no substance. They're in a different plane. So what I was anticipating is that these antimatter beings were going through like Bill or Koenig, and that's why Koenig says he was felt like he was ghosted.
Yeah.
The ghost. Yeah. It's not a ghost in this case because they don't know, but it's an antimatter being that went through him and he felt it, and that's what made him shudder. That's how I thought
Vidrus. I thought Vidrus was the only one who had crossed over. So
no, this is before they crossed over because there potentially were all these antimatter beings on the world existing on a different plane. It's just that we didn't see them.
So and I never thought of that.
They wanted to cross over to become solid, and that was the whole thing. So that was my interpretation of why they felt the way they felt, because these antimatter beings were going through them, and they picked up on the vibe.
Right. No,
I didn't think about that, but okay. Yeah.
Let us know in the comment section your thoughts on that.
Makes sense. There are a couple other comments here I'll just burn through quick, and this is from my buddy Cam. Even IMDb says she was a literal teenager, which I seriously doubt there should have been any on Alpha. Yeah. And then we sort of talked about how Drew Gasca dealt with that and spun it the way he did. Nancy's chiming in. Continuity took a big hit in the episode. Even as a kid, I thought, wait a minute, the other missions involve Shermeen. Where'd she come from all of a sudden? Of course.
Yeah.
And Roberto is out there,
Hey,
and
Roberto.
I'm at a loss. I think he's saying hello. Salut. Natalia. Bye bye. Un abracio. Hello. Welcome. Hope you're doing well in Italy.
Nice.
But there's some interesting concepts there that I think, I said earlier that maybe just didn't translate as well as the writers were hoping. And that's unfortunately, it's one of the limitations of from page to screen, right? You never know how it's going to translate fully. And some of your ideas through those various rewrites could be lost or misinterpreted, right?
Yeah.
In translation. But I liked it, and I like the monkey.
Yeah.
Tales of the Gold Monkey.
It was also a decent episode for John Hugg, the aforementioned Bill Fraser. He had some good scenes this episode, and it was.
I love the way they pulled him up out of that seat as quickly as they did and got him back. And let me tell you, as somebody that has actually sat in one of those seats,
yeah, he was like a
Warren
rag
can
doll.
attest. There's nothing easy about that. Get him in the back. The other thing is we get to see a lot of props that are from other episodes too. One of the things when Shermeen goes to the nuclear generating area to get the nuclear generator, and in fact, just as she goes in, she doesn't even hit the button and the door opens. So I'm really being a nitpicker here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what room she was going into? I mean, what that set actually was.
Just say it again, Roy.
I'm sorry. Did you know what set that actually was that she was going into? What it usually is used for? Where she's going into, where it says nuclear generating area?
Is it medical? I mean, there's only so many choices on the year 2 sets.
No, it was actually the travel tube.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
But they had it low enough that you couldn't see, but you could see in just the way everything was. So when you go back to watch the episode, check it out. It's actually the travel tube where she's going in. But anyway, just a little tidbit. We got to see what else? What was the other thing that was kind of cool? Oh, we got to see in that area where I forget what his name was, where she got the device. They had that device that was from Journey to Where, the test sample that they used when it went back to Earth first.
Are you talking about the
booth? Is that what you mean?
No, it was when they before they go back to Earth in Journey to Where, they send the test package back.
Oh,
right, but that was the aerial probe from last
the Last Sunset.
Yeah.
Yes, we get to see that in this episode.
Another reuse of an old prop. Yeah.
Yep. An engineering hat was used. I think that was from Catacombs of the Moon. That was in there. Mm-hmm. Those were 2. Also, this is again more continuity. When Shermeen goes to her quarters for the very first time, her badge is not on. It came off.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
There is, and that just reminded me, Roy, there's a blooper at the beginning where you can see part of a crewman with a clapperboard.
I did not catch that. Where was that?
Right at the very beginning, the first time, I think it's the very first time that Vindris appears to Shermeen in her quarters, where he's sort of translucent, right? And he's sort of there, but not. But right at the beginning of the shot, you can see a crew member with his arm pulling the clapperboard back.
I missed that. I will go back and see that. That's
wow,
nice catch. I did not catch that, Warren. Very cool. Very cool.
And there's another one actually, to do with the creature on the planet. from the back, and it turns its head, and the whole helmet comes up, and you can see the actor's neck underneath.
That I think I remember having seen in the past. That sounds familiar.
Yeah. So a couple whammies in
Yeah.
this episode alone for bloopers.
Yeah. But one of the positives is we get to see a nice, beautiful close up of Eagle 1 and Eagle 2, the nose cones, specifically when they're parked next to each other. I love that shot, and this, see those two beautiful 44-inch Eagle models together like that. That was really, really cool. Just saying.
For all those Eagle fans out there, for sure. Yeah. And interesting because year 2 was so Eagle 3 centric.
Yes.
So
I think it might have been Eagle 3 that was when in the opening shot we see that the first shot is you see the planet, and then the other shot is you see the Eagle just landed already. It's a quick shot, and I was trying to get it, to observe the landing gear, the service pod, because that's how you can tell the distinction. One of the ways you can tell the distinction. I know the other folks out there that are, really good at that. But that may have been Eagle 3 that we get to see. I'll have to go back and freeze it. Oh, Andy Tucker's out there. Hey, Andy, welcome. Yeah, we got up early today.
Yeah, well, it would have been, oh boy. Yeah, I think Andy's on the West Coast, so.
Yeah. Oh, May's got one too. She said, when Vindris appears to Shameen in hydroponics, the background is Shameen's quarters, not hydroponics. Good catch, May.
Oh, okay.
Good catch. So, yeah. But, I mean, the whole idea of de-evolution and everything about what was going on their planet, and, talking about, as far as how they were headed towards to this, back to the slime and everything. I mean, that was an interesting premise. But yeah, trying to think of anything else that as far as I cracked up with Bill's comment. He's on a liquid-free diet. How could you be on a liquid-free diet? That would kill you.
Yeah,
if anything, you can live on. Oh, there goes my. I think I cracked up Missy on that one. Did you catch that one, Missy, when he said that?
Yeah, they dealt with Tony's beer in an interesting way this episode. It wasn't just that the beer was bad, right? They start off and they sort of provide some context. I think you guys mentioned this earlier with hydroponics, and the different resources that Tony has to rely upon in order to make this swill, right? And then when they go around when they're serving it, yeah, they each and every character sort of came up with their own tongue-in-cheek funny little quip or comment, and Bill's was great, right?
Free diet.
You know what this episode really is? It's the writers going after how the heck can we make Tony Verdeschi and Bill Fraser have a really rotten bad day? What all can we do to them? Well, let's see.
The hypnotic plant, the bad beer. Oh, and the other thing I thought was interesting too is, Shameen was really, yeah, she acted, she was a child. I mean, she, Lynn Frederick portrayed her like a child, and she definitely did that well. Or the character of Shameen anyway. But there's one, when Tony's trying to soften the blow to let her know that she's not going to be a member of the landing party, and she's speaking to him, and she kind of warms up a little bit, and then she puts her hand on his arm, and he just kind of looks down and is almost like, why are you touching me? Why are you holding me? It really just shows that he's not interested. It was kind of a cold moment, but it was definitely conveyed though through the through the actions of good acting.
So that whole thing just to me seemed so. I guess depending on the age of Shermine, it would make sense perhaps that she would be a little bit less emotionally mature,
Mhm.
being stuck on the moon and not having all of the normal social experiences that a young woman her age would have had. Now, is it normal for a young woman of her age to develop a fixation on an older man? I don't know. Uh, never experienced that, so I don't know. Is that normal? If it is, okay, fine. But then you've got poor Tony. Okay, he is oblivious.
Yeah.
I mean, he is just so oblivious, and I'm not sure that if you're writing Tony, that man would be that oblivious to that. So again, that kind of makes me think, okay, what the heck? Do these writers really know these characters? But then
it's hard to say, because in the previous episode is the big reveal between Maya and Tony, and maybe you could chalk it up to Tony's just so fixated on Maya that he's oblivious to anything else going on.
But does anybody else know? Like I said, I've only watched this episode once on Friday night. I listened to it a little bit yesterday, and then I tried to speed watch it again this morning. But to me, this episode almost seems like Tony and Maya have this distance between them.
I agree. I agree.
They're not normal Tony and Maya. Their silly, cute relationship. There really seems to be a distance between the two of them. So again,
that is playful.
That sort of plays to your earlier theory, Missy, that this was a recycled canned script, right?
Yeah.
Because the writers didn't know the characters well, or well enough to realize that there was a natural flirtation between the two.
And one of the blurbs that you were saying too, Warren, Tone or they're all each getting their moment to say why they don't want to drink the beer. What does Maya say? She says, "I would hate to ruin a
beautiful friendship."
Yeah, and it's like Maya and Tony are more than just a friendship.
Yeah.
And now, granted, they don't go in production order as far as showing the episodes, but to your point, the episode right before this, Tony conveyed his love to Maya.
That was my question.
Yeah,
that was my question. Was Helena's ridiculous number of days since leaving Earth orbit.
Yep.
My question, and I didn't have time to look back at this, was okay, where does this episode fall?
I think this is later. I'm pretty sure. I think this one was. I wrote it down. This was 17. I think I wrote it down. I think it was 1,702 days after leaving Earth's orbit. I'm pretty sure that the Beta Cloud
happened prior.
Before. It was prior. I'm pretty sure.
So immediately my first question was, well, okay, so we had the whole wild garbage spiel back in the Beta Cloud, and I'm like, okay, is Maya still kind of PO'd at Tony about all of that at this point in this episode? Because that distance is just there. Then she's in command center. She's sitting at the desk in front of Tony. Okay. And just the look on her face, the way she said, you have to treat Shermie with care and all that stuff. I just got the feeling that she wasn't just teasing Tony. I got the feeling that she had the claws out, kind of, sort of.
Well, you bring up a good point about the desks, because Bill Fraser is in Maya's position, where Maya, where she's sitting, she she really very rarely, I don't think she's actually sat in that seat at all. If she did, maybe it was one other episode. But and here's the thing though, as fans, we're reading into all this stuff, which is great. And and I know you do fan fiction, which is awesome, and you do incredible. I mean, I've read some of your work and it's incredible. It's just that from a directing standpoint, I think they set it up the shot the way they did because it was easier to give Maya more attention in the beginning, to have her sit where Bill, freezing up here, where John Hug, where Bill was sitting, because she was more of the focus. And if they had the shot set up in her in her seat that she's normally at, it wouldn't have worked as well. And I think that's why they did that from a standpoint of directing, of logistics. I could be wrong, but that's my guess. But I totally agree with you though, that, if you want to get creative and look from it, from a continuity and a storyline standpoint, yeah, she was not where she normally is. And it makes it more fun to think that, like, maybe, she went to a different area, because of that. And, it's not like her name is glued on there, because we definitely see different Alphans at different positions. So no, that's my take on that. But no, great point with that though.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then another thing that bothers me about this is, okay, so Koenig walks into command center. He has no idea what the heck just happened, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he walks in, and what does this man do the entire time? It's like, okay, fine, you talk to Shermeen, you tell her she's not going on down to the planet, okay? And it's like, poor Tony, he's probably thinking, okay, these people are saying that she's interested in me, which obviously he seemed very oblivious to. Mm-hmm. You want me to go talk to her, okay? And so, and then what's isn't there another section where Koenig does the same thing? Tries to tell Tony to go talk to her again. And I'm like, okay, you and Helena decided she's not going down to the planet on that. Okay.
No, there is two. Koenig tells her not to go, asks him to talk to her about it, that she's not going to be going on the landing party. But then what happens is, when they come back from Sunam, they know that there's something that's going on. And then he says to Tony, you know what? He said about, Tony says to Koenig, why don't you try to ask her? And he says he did. And she was holding back. And then he says, I need you to talk to her. And then he goes, I can't reach her, not anymore. And then he says, please talk to her, because if we don't find out, they're going to be in trouble. And then that's when Tony goes to find out what's going on with her, and then finds out about Vindris, and then he succumbs to the plant and then gets knocked out. And then
he gets flowered.
Yeah, he gets flowered. Yeah, it's like this side of paradise all over again.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. So poor Chris Potter gets flowered. Poor Bill Fraser gets flowered. And poor Tony gets flowered. Hydroponics is a dangerous place.
But yeah, and again, the importance of everything going on, it's just, that's where my main, if you really dissect it and look into everything, there's so much, this is all a serious situation that's taking place right from the get-go, as far as them finding a new world, potentially going down there. And, meanwhile, all this kind of drama is going on. But, hey, but you know what, though? Things happen on starships where people are singing. So, that happens. And then things happen on starships where people go down to planets and they breathe in air, and, they get drugged out. So, you know what? This is Space 1999's version of Year 2.
Listen, Roy, I even heard that things happen on starships where you turn into a Muppet. So,
yeah, that's the third one. So you know what? Who are we to be hard on this episode, right? And just for the
Oh,
record,
boy.
I really did enjoy episodes 1 and 2 of Strange New Worlds, just for the record.
I haven't seen 3 yet. I haven't seen the third one.
Well, the third one was why I was saying about,
Okay. Spoiler, not spoilers. Wow.
spoiler, not spoiler.
Hey, listen, our friend Simon's out there as well. And Simon actually brought up a good point that I really appreciated about not only this episode, but and anytime they delve into things like this. And it's quite simply, he says the murals on the walls of the temple are wild. Lots to enjoy in the episode, and I really appreciate the idea that not only on planet Earth, where there's theories and things like that, but civilizations are millions of years old, right? Yeah. And the fact that they find these essentially hieroglyphs on the interiors of the temple walls, it just adds a layer of, well, I mean, everything they're trying to say about millions of years of evolution, right? It's an interesting concept for sure.
I like Simon's comment. Better flowered than deflowered.
I wasn't going to bring that one up, but okay. But Roy?
Roy what? I like Dennis's comment too. Yes, absolutely. I'm right there with you, Dennis. As a young teen seeing it for the first time on the original airing date, I thought Shameen was so pretty. I let a lot of the episode issues slide. No, definitely. I mean, yeah, she was lovely. She definitely was. And I guess I had a teenage crush on Shameen as well too back in the day. So no, I get it.
Was one other comment that I think Simon made about Nicholas Campbell. Oh, there it is. Nicholas Campbell and Barry Morse, actually. Interesting bit of trivia. Both Barry and Nicholas appeared in another science fiction production set on the moon. It was the 1979 Canadian science fiction film, The Shape of Things to Come. I did not know that. I know that.
Saw that movie a long time ago on Prism. Wow, great. Nice share, Chris. Thanks for sharing that. I vaguely remember that. That's something that maybe we'll have to cover on the show. That would be interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Chris, and thanks for Simon. Thanks for sharing your comments. So yeah, and you're right in regards to the those murals. They were pretty amazing as far as the artwork and everything. They were very cool. No, so I mean, I guess what the frustrating part is, and again, hey, we've got 50 years to think about all this, right? But there's so much more that could have been done with this episode, and I can only imagine, like, if something like this was done today, I know how different it would be, and that's what makes it special, because it was done back in 1976, and it is Space 1999. But I like your theory, Missy, though, about the fact that this could have potentially been a script for another show and was potentially recycled, or, an abandoned idea, but it's something that just, was kind of introduced for. Sorry, I froze again. What I was starting to say is I really like the idea of this potentially being an idea or a concept for what could have been for another show, and then it was used for our show.
Well, and this was the only script they contributed, was it not?
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
So it makes complete sense.
Yeah. And another thing that makes me kind of think that, okay, so they're in command center, and Koenig has come in, and Maya's given him the information on the planet. And she actually says, and I printed out the transcript because I knew I would not remember this. She actually says that it's constellation Pentaurus. And it's an uncharted satellite, atmosphere compatible. So my question when I watched this the first time, I was like, how does she know? How does the Alphen records come up and say that this is the Pentaurus constellation?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
because by this point, okay, the moon is how many light years away from Earth?
Right.
And they've gone through at least one black hole. Um, our second encounter with space warp, okay, right before the metamorph. So at this point, do these people even have any idea where in the big old universe they are? And then all of a sudden, Maya comes up and says, "Well, it's constellation Pandaris." And I remember, I was like, how does this girl know where the heck they are?
Yeah.
That made no sense to me. I'm like, okay, so that was another reason that I thought, well, okay, this could be for any sci-fi show. And yeah, that was just another thing that kind of kicked.
Yeah, the universe, and again, this is, I mean, making the comparisons again for in the second series, the universe always seemed a lot smaller. It's just it was always so much more vast in season one. It's just the way it was. But yeah, it's comments, Warren, on that.
Well, you know, it's Simon's just saying that you know, you could chalk that up to Alpha having downloaded from Voyager 1, right? But the other thing that just struck in my mind is just the fact that in season 1 they sort of dealt with this a couple of times, where it was main computer who was assigning designated code names to planets, right? So maybe it was something, you know, like designated code name Terra Alpha. They had Piri, I think was a computer name. Ariel from Last Sunset. It's I get what you're saying, Missy, but yeah, I think Roy just nailed it there. Is it in season 2? They just seem to get rid of a lot of the vast concepts that they were dealing with in year 1.
Yeah, and I agree with what Simon just said. I am more bothered by how they know the fate of Triton, and that's series 1 too. That always was a pet peeve of mine. I agree, Simon, on that. It's like, how would they know? There's no way they would know that. And I didn't mean to cut you off, Missy. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. The only other explanation I'd come up with was that Psychon Science obviously had to, if it was so far advanced, then does that mean that their study of the universe that they were going through had actually given the Psychons that kind of information? And so Maya would know that, but the rest of the Alphans not necessarily. But yet she would know things about different constellations and stuff out there. I don't know.
Yeah. That's always one of those things. It's like, where does all this intel come from? But
well, I think on a more exciting note, folks. Roy, what's the next episode? Space Warp.
I was trying to remember if we didn't discuss Space Warp yet. No, Space Warp is the next one.
I think that'll be a fun one too. No, I think we did really well here today, guys. We're at an hour and 15 minutes. So
yeah, and the time went fast, and there was definitely a lot to talk about, and it's definitely memorable. It's a memorable episode, and like I said, 50 years later, we're still going through it. And
it's really a testament that we're all here week after week, and convention after convention, and now continuing the story with a little short film. It's remarkable, and we're all we should be so lucky and grateful for the vibrant fandom that's kept this series alive all these years, and whether it be through merchandise releases, home video releases, it's just there's been more and more demand, it seems, as we move along, right? And Roy, you and I have talked about this little resurgence that happened about 20 years ago with the release of the Eagle model kit for the first time, and it just sort of snowballed from there, and now it's like not only round 2 in NPC, but 1612 and Eagle Moss, which is turned into the Jerry Anderson releases now. I think, and you know what, somebody should really, Jeffrey Morris might even be aware of this fact, but I think the Eagle is probably the most manufactured release of anything ever in history to do with a science fiction show, because of not only the different releases, but also the different variants of the show. It's amazing to think about how many times this thing has been mass produced.
Yeah, that's good. That's interesting content. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. The interest is there. It's pretty wild for, something that's, was on literally for broadcast for 2 years. And, it may not have the fan base to the extent of, I'll say, Star Trek or Star Wars, but the Space 1999 fans that are out there, are very dedicated. They love the show, and, they celebrate it in so many different ways, and it's made it so very special. And we're very fortunate to be able to do what we're doing today because of it. So it's wonderful. Yeah, Master Replicas too, Dennis. You're absolutely right. I mean, they
took over the 1612 holes, right?
Yeah.
Jerry Anderson's store took over the Eagle Moss, and Master Replicas has taken over everything 1612. Yeah. Very exciting. I hope they come in at a little cheaper price point too. We'll see.
Yeah. Knock on wood, right? Maya said, knock on wood.
Plenty of that around.
Episode. But what about other news, Warren? You got other stuff to share?
Yeah, well, for sure. Well, thanks for everybody for tuning in, and the comments have been great today, rolling in. Just a few things here real quick that we'll cover. First off, in our banner across the bottom, people have probably seen and heard about this, but Roy and I sort of put our heads together, and we've come up with a new way to help support our podcasts. I mean, we've been doing this for years and years now, Roy. I don't want to think about how long, but it's a vast investment in our time, and so we've just come up with a little way to maybe help support our efforts and the shows. Not only Space 1999 this episode, but also Roy's Tie-Dye Sci-Fi. So we've come up with an exclusive tie-dye tie-in T-shirt that'll help our efforts. And if you head on over to that new Shopify store at the bottom, that will enable us or ensure that we can keep providing this wonderful content. And of course, we're also sort of supporting the short film or mini-sode Return to Moonbase off at the same time. So, we'd really appreciate your help and assistance in that. There's also some cool Manchester 1999 merch on the same Shopify site. And we're happy to do this, but it goes a long way in supporting our efforts and ensuring that we're going to continue on, right, Roy?
Absolutely. Bigger, better, more exciting than ever.
No, definitely. And here was our new graphic that we put together. A close up look at it. I think it turned out very well. The best YouTube channels around, right?
It looks awesome. Thanks, Warren.
I know we both put a lot into this, and thank you to all of our special guests like Missy that we've had on week after week with these different segments. It's been, we came up with the concept and the idea that it would be fun to talk to somebody different each time, right, and get different views and perspectives on the episodes that maybe you and I had never considered before, Roy. Being lifelong fans, and Missy, you've certainly check that box of bringing that new and interesting spin on things for sure.
Like I said, when I first watched, because it's been a while since I watched this episode, right? It's not one of the ones that I will repeat watch. So, like I said, when I watched it on Friday night, I was like, it just did not. It did not sit well with me.
And that's okay. We can all look back and with rose-colored glasses and appreciate it for what it is, right?
Right.
I mean,
right.
we can't they all can't be favorites, so it's okay. I mean, it's just
they all cannot be Journey to Where.
Yeah, or the Metamorph.
No, certainly. So then just really quickly here for anybody out there, just an update on Manchester tickets. So we have been sort of monitoring this over the last few weeks, and because our very early on we had went with a smaller venue, and right out of the gates, we were trying to make things a little more intimate and exclusive with virtually renting out this entire facility. That's sort of come back to bite us in the butt a little bit here now, because we're almost at capacity with some of the safety and regulatory limitations on the number of people we can have in these event spaces. So long story short, we're not having to close things out just yet. We're not saying we're sold out, but it is close. So we're going to have to, for the first time, actually cap or close temporarily the online ticket sales a little earlier this time out. So Friday, September 4th will be the deadline for online ticket sales. Now, there will be a few tickets available at the door. I will say a limited number, because we still want to try and accommodate those the walk-in, the foot traffic, if you will. So, but they will be limited. So, the takeaway here is that if you're intending on coming to Manchester, you better get your tickets via the online website at www.space199950years.com in order to ensure you're gonna get in. It's the only way to guarantee that you'll be able to have access. So, like I said, if you wait till the tickets at the door, you might be disappointed. So just keep that in mind. And then finally, really quickly here, we're really excited to announce, and this came down a couple weeks ago, of course, that Return to Moonbase Alpha is now in full production. Very, very amazing accomplishment. And thanks to everybody out there who supported the Kickstarter back in April. We have, as of 2 weeks ago, Roy, we've begun visual effects filming as promised in the Kickstarter, with original props, miniatures, and models. Just unbelievable that this is happening. This has all come together for the enjoyment of the fans worldwide, and we're just so happy and proud to be involved in this continuation and mini-sode called Return to Moonbase Alpha.
Yeah, there's no words to express how cool that is.
It's there's a lot of things that Roy and I have been privy to that we can't even sort of talk about at this point, but it's amazing things that considering that we are diehard fans, Roy, I mean, it's been, we've been able to witness some of this firsthand, and it's chilling. It's unbelievable to see the efforts of all the people that have come out of the woodwork to support the project and believe in Return to Moonbase Alpha. And it's just, we're just bowled over with gratitude and joy.
I'm not even going to add to that, Warren, because you nailed it on all the levels.
It's no word of a lie. It's just unbelievable. We're so thrilled to be, even a small part of this journey, because it's there's many people that have come together who have been collaborating and just really want to knock this out of the park and make it something very, very special for fandom.
Well said.
So on that, if you're poor like me and you can't go to the convention, how do you actually get to see that?
So that's very interesting. So that, and I'm glad you brought that up, Missy. So for the people out there that did happen to miss the Kickstarter, there is a still way you can support the project and our podcast at the same time. And that's this very special t-shirt. So the limited edition, this is only going to be available for a few weeks. If you head on over to that Shopify store, and it's available in various colors and style options to do with the entire tie-dye theme. But this t-shirt will also put you on the mailing list to receive a digital copy of the movie
Okay.
when it comes out next year. So
well,
that's
I'm glad I asked since I'm
Uh-huh.
too poor to be able to go to the convention.
Absolutely. So it's not so much the convention is where, of course, we're going to be filming. There's no big secret there. But if you can't make it, you can still support and see the project simply by picking up one of those wonderful limited edition T-shirts, and we'll put you on the mailing list to have a digital copy of the film mailed out to you next year once it becomes available. So there we go. Yeah, because that digital copy was one of the most popular tiers in the Kickstarter, right? And I think it was $25 or $35, but yeah, most people opted for that because they're so excited to see this and they want to be a part of it next year along with everybody.
So cool.
So there we go.
Stephen Reeder's out there. Hey, Steve. He said, any behind the scene photos of the show of this production in progress? Not that can be said. Not that can be shown at this time, unfortunately, but thanks for asking, Stephen.
And I can address that. And it's a very good question. A lot of productions will, sort of be dropping those little nuggets along the way. We sort of decided early on that we really want to try and keep things under wraps so that when it does premiere, right, it's gonna, I think I used the term just a second ago, knock everybody's socks off. And we really want to, be able to achieve that. And so that's why we're probably not going to be releasing a lot of behind the scenes stuff because it devalues the final effect, right? So it's just, I mean, afterwards, that's a different story. And we are actually commissioning along the way that entire behind the scenes documentary by Andy and Amy Tucker, who are out there today as well. So there'll be lots of supplemental material to go along after the release, but we really want to try and keep this a surprise and a mystery, if you will, at the same time before it comes out.
So in other words, it's highly classified.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to Daryl that's out there too. He said, sorry, late. We'll catch up with you guys. Thanks for being out there, Daryl.
No problem. Yeah, Andy and Amy are out there. Nick McCarty's out there.
Hey, Nick. Good to see you out there too.
You bet. And Daryl, yeah.
Yeah, and in regards to Daryl and his team, what he has done with the Eagle, for those of the folks that were at the London 1999 convention almost 2 years ago, I mean, that Eagle command module was amazing, and it wasn't even complete. And we've seen a lot of it. We've seen a lot of photos online, and just having the opportunity to sit, and have Nick be a part of that, and also Johnny Garco, he was also, had the opportunity to sit in the Eagle cockpit. There he is. I mean, it was just amazing. So
just look at everybody's smile. Like it was overwhelming, right? to be there in the moment.
Thank you again to Daryl and his team.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. Well, okay, folks, fine.
Well, this was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Missy. And definitely we have more episodes coming down the pike. So you're welcome to come back. Maybe it'll be a little bit more a matter of balance.
Maybe I feel better than I actually do today. So,
Yeah, sorry. It sounds like you're
better.
A little under the weather, but thanks for being a trooper and still tuning in to take part in the segment.
Hey, when I got asked on Friday, I was like, okay, it doesn't matter how bad I feel. I said yes. I will be here.
Well, that's awesome. It's nice to see you again and catch up briefly. And to anybody else out there, we really appreciate you tuning in at the early hour.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for, coming on and to share your comments, to listen to us, and to celebrate Space 1999, 50 years, and it's ongoing.
For sure. Maybe we'll close out by running our intro that we normally don't run because it gets us shadow banned, but sure. I'll pull it up here. I can find it in a hurry. All right. So we'll see everybody next time as well for Space Warp.
Take care.
Bye-bye for now.